The Amazing Digital Circus is an extremely popular indie show produced by Glitch Productions and Gooseworks. The show doesn't really need much of an introduction, so I'll just get into the video. Please enjoy. I do not enjoy Digital Circus at all. In fact, I think the show was one big cash grab. But first, the plot. You might already know, but Digital Circus is based on an extremely well-written story, I Have No Mouth, I Must Scream, made by Harlan Ellison. With that out of the way, Digital Circus is about 6 people trapped in a computer. A huge problem I have with Digital Circus is the dialogue. Your dialogue is supposed to bring characters there, explain certain things, character development, and so much more. But in Digital Circus, the dialogue is mostly used for unfunny jokes, extremely unfunny one-liners, and just random gags. And then therapy sessions. That's most of the dialogue in the show. Most. And me personally, I don't care if it's an indie show. I still believe it to be as harsh as possible because Gooseworks is in her 30s. And she writes like a 14-year-old on Tumblr. That's not a good thing. First time or not, it's horrible. And I feel like she should have taken, a writing class instead of rushing through this. And Gooseworks 100% knows her writing is horrible because the characters all talk like Tumblr OCs. And guess who watches this show? 30-year-old millennials will still use Tumblr, and 14-year-old Tumblr girls. That's who's watching this show. That's the demographic of this show. I also really don't like how every episode has the exact same formula. At the start, silly things happen. Wacky, silly, everyone's having a good time. Jokes, they go on an adventure, more jokes. Then they have to have a mental breakdown, and then a therapy session. And then they feel better, and then they hug, and boom, next episode. For 9 episodes straight, this exact thing happens. And something that does not help this show at all is how extremely plain all the characters are. Pomni's the therapist. Ragatha is supposed to be the therapist, but she can't because she's not mentally stable either. Jax is the poor victim who needs Pomni as his own personal therapist. Gangle and Zubul are just a lesbian couple. There's nothing else. Kinger is just a crazy guy who secretly knows things trope. They're all boring and basic. I also really want to talk about this. Remember when I talked about how they just now only started talking about their backstories when Pomni showed up? Well, here's the thing. The world only started to exist when Pomni showed up. The world only started to move when Pomni showed up. And here's a better explanation.
This is what I like to call the center of the world protagonist writing method. The idea behind it is that the entire world is stagnant and unchanging until the protagonist becomes a part of it, at which point the world suddenly starts changing and moving forward. I have never seen an example of this writing method being used that works. It is always bad because it suggests that nothing can happen in a story's world without the involvement of the protagonist.
That's exactly what I mean when I say that the world only started moving when Pomni showed up. They started talking about things that they should already know when Pomni showed up. It all revolves around her. She's the reason why they're having these conversations. She's the reason why they know all this information that they very well should already have known with their years together. And Gooseworks waste all this time having them talk about things that they should already know when she could be spending all of this time on them hinting at their backstories because they wouldn't need to outright say it because they should already know. And this is truly what I mean when I say this show is a cash grab. Gooseworks admits on her Tumblr that she threw this together in 1 or 2 weeks. 1 or 2 weeks. Do you really think this is for passion that she cares about the show or for money? It's obviously for money. Are we stupid here? She does not care about this show. She does not have any interest in this show. It was all for money. All she had to do was make some cute little pink and blue characters, and you just ate up the slop. Everyone ate the slop. And something I really want to talk about is the Jax glazing by not only Gooseworks and the fans, but I'll get into the fans later. But I want to talk about Gooseworks. This is not the Amazing Digital Circus. This is the Amazing Digital Jax show. It's all about him. Everyone exists to serve Jax. Pomni is Jax's own personal free therapist, and everyone else is just a punching bag to make him feel better also. Nothing more. They don't really serve any other purpose but to serve Jax. All they do is serve Jax. They feel the emotions they do because of Jax. But does he really get much punishment? Oh, he gets strangled in one of the episodes. Is that real punishment? He basically killed one of his friends and we're supposed to let it go because he shed a few tears and said, "We're not supposed to love him." Like, yeah, no shit, dude. Oh, and my mommy and daddy didn't love me and they said I wasn't. Who asked? I just genuinely hate Jax. I hate his fans. I hate Goosebumps. I hate Jax. He's the worst character in the entire series. He's the biggest cornball I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm gonna show a clip just to get my point across.
Am not. I do not care about you or anyone else in this circus in the slightest. End of story. You are my playthings, and I get joy out of making you suffer. I'm the one who causes pain for fun. If I led you on, it was just to make this part hurt you more.
To those who didn't put the gun to their head and pull the trigger, I thank you. I was struggling too. You're not alone. Like, just imagine what Pomni is thinking right now. Wow, this nigga is so corny, bro. And just imagine meeting someone like Jax in real life. I imagine they are the most stinkiest, most repulsive, annoying, ugliest creature in the entire world. Like, genuinely, if you're like Jax, get help, bro. Like, genuinely, just get help. Because no one wants you. You are not desirable in the slightest bit. Like, why are you even here? Get better, bro. Get help. Get some therapy. And I also just feel really bad for anyone whose favorite character wasn't Jax or Pomni, because he basically just got screwed over because the creator thought their self-insert was more important than an actual good story or an actual character development in a character-based show. The characters are supposed to move the story forward, not the lore. And Gooseworks is stupid enough to think she could balance both of them in 9 episodes. I'm also just not a big fan of the adventures because first of all, they're really boring, and second of all, what did they do? What's the point? They don't move our characters forward. They don't really do much. Yeah, maybe in an adventure they'll have a therapy session, but that's it. The whole point of these adventures are therapy sessions. In the second episode, Pomni has a therapy session with the gummy goo. In the third episode, Pomni has a therapy session with Kinger. In the fourth episode, Pomni has a therapy session with Gangle. In the fifth episode, Pomni has a freaking therapy session with Ragatha. And basically everyone else, kinda. In the sixth episode, Pomni has another freaking therapy session. Every episode is just a stupid therapy session. That's it. It is a therapy cartoon. Nothing. It is supposed to hold your hand, hug you, love you, give you kisses. Who watches this stuff? Never mind, I already know. But I genuinely just can't be the only one who thinks the only reason why this show is popular is because it looks nice, because it has good animation, because the characters look nice. I guarantee you, if the characters did not look this good, no one would be caring. No one would be watching this. It would not be nearly as popular. People only like this because of how the characters look, and because they can kin Jax and can't even be too mad about it because Goose really found an infinite money hack. Just make some dumb rainbow characters. But this next clip really just sums up everything I want to say right now.
It felt like Goose had a specific vision, but then halfway through, there was a specific alteration, a deliberate alteration, directing the show more towards uh, longevity and dragging it on. And they're gonna say no, we're completely hands off. We let the artists do whatever they want. Again, they are funding the show. It's their money. They have a say. And even if Goose herself says, hey, they're completely hands off, the manipulation is not just I tell you what to do, or their influence is not just I tell you what to do. It can be very subtle manipulation, like, hey, we like your show. It's just that, well, there's a lot of artists, and we need to make sure that we got a lot of merchandise, and we got to make sure that we get to pay our artists. So maybe we can do like maybe a little bit of theorizing here, a little bit of more vague lore there. In order to get the audience engaged and make more merchandise revenue. For the artists. Obviously, not directly commanding, but influencing how the show goes. I totally forgot about the in the rapid fire episode where they have the school scene. The only reason that scene existed is to put the characters in school uniforms. That's the only reason. Same with the beach episode. The only reason they went to the beach is so that you can get fan service and more merchandise. It's little things like that that show what their actual motives are. The school scene, not there for any purpose, just there so you can get more merchandise. The beach scene is only there because they want to get, the characters in swimwear and get the fans all, ooh. The whole point is to dress up the characters so that they can sell more merchandise. That is their goal. Glitch is a company, their goal is to make money. They are not your friends.
I honestly disagree with Goose was being manipulated by Glitch. I fully believe that Goose was in this from the start. She already had those scenes written in. She already had those stupid lore bits written in. They were working side by side. Glitch didn't have to do anything. Goose already put the fan service. She was already in there for the money. But I still agree with most of the clip. Now, this video is getting way too long to make. So I just wanted to add a little bonus section. Here are just some tweets and a little bit of final thoughts. And some recent new digital circus stuff. I also had to talk about trans Jax and how absurd, unnecessary, and stupid and self-inserting and forced it is. We already have all this millennial stuff, and just for Gooseworks to add this on top. And no, Goose and the fans, I know this is gonna hurt to hear, but being trans is not going to fix Jax's mental issues. In fact, realistically, it's going to make them worse. That's not how this works. You don't change your pronouns and immediately you're a better, different, completely different person. That's not how this works. Also, Jax is a piece of shit. He constantly torments his friends and he killed his mom. Gooseworks, what are you trying to say here? I feel like she's trying to say something, guys. I also want to bring up this tweet because it honestly perfectly describes the show better than I could in the 13 minutes that this video is. But this tweet, it just describes everything so perfectly. This is a therapy show. You're supposed to be hugged and told that there's nothing wrong with you, that you're fine. The show's for people like Jax. It's for them to be hugged and told that they're fine, that there's nothing wrong with them, that they don't need to change. Jax didn't even try to apologize. So, yeah, this is for people like him. It's for pieces of crap like him. And something I want to talk about, the last thing. The fans treat Jax as if he's a real person with real feelings. When he's not. He's not a real person. He doesn't feel anything. And they also just like projecting all their mental illnesses on him, which is not surprising. Goose did it too, as we can see. They want to see themselves in him for some reason, because they think they're just like him. And in some aspects, unfortunately, they are. They are as mentally ill as him in some cases. They are almost as bad as him. That's really all I have to say right now. Maybe I'll make another video about this. But in the meantime, have a blessed day.